Ow, 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 ow! Man, that hurt.
Whoa, you alright?
Yeah, I just burnt my hand. It's my fault. I should have known it was hot.
Oh, it happens to the best of us. What are you cooking?
I'm not cooking.
You're baking a cake?
Not baking.
Warming up the oven to make sure the cleaning product is more effective?
Nope.
Then what did you burn your hand on?
My own body. Oh, I've done it again. That's so hot. Whoops.
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah.
I was going-
It's like a weird Sean Connery mixed with
I was thinking more like I'm too
sexy for my shirt. It started off like a weird Sean Connery James Bond,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
whoops.
whoops.
I did it again.
I don't know.
I spilled my martini all over my white shirt. Now you can see my nipples. Welcome to the podcast.
That might bring me back to James Bond. I might watch James Bond again if that's what it was like.
That's how I remember it anyway.
Silly me, Daniel Craig,
Oops.
spilling martini
There's-
on myself.
If you're looking for that, there's literally a scene where Daniel Craig's James Bond like gets out of a sea and walks up the beach in slow motion.
What a shot.
That was an awakening for many of us.
Same. Anyway, welcome to the Get Commanded podcast. It's the GCP, brought to you by POG, Palms Off Gaming, sponsor of this podcast where everybody knows your name. I'm your host, Walt.
And hello, Commander players. I'm hungry. Hi, Dad. James.
It's a good tradition that we have. I like it.
I'm liking the weird tone we're setting for 2024. This is great.
It's going to be a good year.
Look, we don't have much to let you guys in on because we're recording this episode pretty far in advance from its release date.
It's actually December 2013 for
Yeah.
us. Spice Girls are still irrelevant,
Walt
like they
has-
were 10 years ago.
Walt has Nelly on his phone for
Yeah.
his ringtone.
Rob the jewelry store and tell him make me a grill. That's an in-joke for those of you who know I'm a tool.
And joined our stream
Yeah.
the other night. You can follow our stream if you want. Go to twitch.tv/getcommanded. But what I do want to remind everyone, as I do every episode, if you support the content, if you enjoy the content.
Yeah, then
and
you should support,
you support
the content.
that you enjoy. That's us. Go to patreon.com/getcommanded to support the content that you enjoy, which is us. This is a terrible
That's a
segue.
great-
Do you want to do
great-
This is an episode.
It's an incoming transmission from the deep depths of the galaxy, from the Space Commanders. It's time to get commanded.
Wise people explore the limits of their morality and beliefs to gain a stronger understanding of themselves. When it comes to the format of Commander, what would you do with absolute power?
What are they asking here?
I don't know. We're exploring the limits of our morality and beliefs.
Like our beliefs.
I reckon they want hot takes.
Oh no, I see it. I see
The
it.
limits of our morality and beliefs, like the fringe beliefs that we hold, the ones other people might not share. I reckon that's a hot take.
That's a hot take. I see it.
Yeah, right? They want our hot takes on Commander, obviously. And then when it comes to Final Commander, what would we do with absolute power? So I reckon what they want us to do, maybe this is what we can do. We'll have a hot take.
Sure.
I want to know if you agree with my hot take, if I agree with your hot take. So we'll throw it to
Yep.
the other person.
Okay.
And then I reckon we collectively decide what we would do if we had absolute power. So if I'm
getcha.
like,
So if we were the
Sol
rules
Ring-
committee or something.
Yeah, Mana Crypt should be banned is my hot take. Then it's like, okay, you're the head of the rules committee. Are you going to ban Mana Crypt today?
Ooh.
I like this.
This is interesting. I've got a list of hot takes that I've been sat on for a bit.
I also have a list of hot
Yeah,
takes.
I think, and this is definitely something you guys out there listening enjoy. We've done a couple of space battles where Walt and I...
They're basically opposing hot takes.
duke it out on some controversial opinions on Commander. So, all right, let's just dive right in, take it in turns.
All right.
You want to go
sounds good.
first?
I'll go first.
Go
My
on.
hot take should not be a hot take, but it is. The Commander Rules Committee does a really good job.
Okay. I actually think that is a hot take
I know.
because I don't think it's as commonly shared by the majority of Commander players.
It's wild that it is a hot take, but it is one. Look, I'm not saying, what I didn't say is the Commander Rules Committee is perfect. Mm-hmm. They can't be perfect. They're human beings. And there are definitely like problems with how things are done, but they're moving in the right direction. And the people who are in charge are really good people. Obviously, famously, about a year ago, we had Jim from the Spike Feeders and Olivia Gobert-Hicks added to the Commander Rules Committee. Obviously, very sadly, Sheldon Menery, who was the head of the Rules Committee or the voice of the Rules Committee, has now passed. Mm-hmm. But it's in very good hands. There's very good people on the Rules Committee, and I think their approach to bans is the right one, which is that their general belief is we will stop, wait, let things play out before we decide something should be banned, and only when something is wildly popular in the format and ruining games for people should we ban it. And the last time they did that was Hull Breacher, which was the right choice.
Yeah, my experience with Hull Breacher was definitely like one of my first big experiences of the Rules Committee affecting the games that I was playing in.
Yes.
Because I think all the other bans that had happened prior to that and all that kind of stuff, I didn't really see the effect of what it was like before the Rules Committee intervened.
No, we never saw like Paradox Engine being played in Urza decks.
We never
instance.
saw Flash, me and you and CDH.
No.
We weren't playing CDH when Flash was legal.
No. So we can't comment on those kinds of things because we never saw them. But yeah, I think the fact that there hasn't been many bans is actually a sign that the format is mostly controlling itself, which is their belief in the format that I definitely share, which is mostly the social aspect of Commander. The Rule Zero conversation is controlling the power level of games. And yes, there are wildly powerful cards that can warp games around them, but most players are just willingly choosing to not play those in the interest of the play group.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Do you agree with my hot take? The Commander Rules Committee does a really good job.
Look, I'm going to save that until I explain a little bit.
Okay.
I have a hang-up on the Rules Committee for one card and one card alone when referencing bans.
Yeah.
Lutri, Spell Chaser.
Yeah, you've brought it up in the ban list episode and a couple of times since. Yep.
He never saw the light of day. My poor little otter that could have gone in any deck that contains red and blue and be an extra free card in the 101st Companion Zone slot. Very bad. I actually think I still will die on this hill. Maybe this is another hot take that Lutri could be unbanned because of
with
how,
conditions, right?
Well, the fact that Companion has now changed.
Paying 3 generic mana to put it in your hand.
Like, you can't just cast it for its mana cost from the Companion Zone like a Commander could.
Yeah.
It's very controversial opinion. I get maybe that's another hot take, a sub-hot take to this, but I have a really big hang-up on their approach to that card in particular. I get why they did it, because it was a free card. I understand all the reasons, but the fact that it never got to see play, I think the format of Commander does a really, really good job at balancing itself because of the fact that it's a social game. For example, we spoke about a while ago how good the One Ring is and how there is a bit of a call to get the One Ring banned.
Yep.
Because it goes in every Commander deck and it's very strong. And it like if you're playing CDH and you're not running the One Ring, you have to have a really good reason not to run the One Ring in your Commander deck.
And even if you're not running it, you're seeing it all the time.
Yes, 100%. You're seeing it everywhere. And I think that the fact that it's everywhere in CDH, but nowhere to be seen in casual, is a good example of the fact that this format that we love self-regulates. And I think intervening sometimes can be a little bit damaging and like preemptively intervening. So like Lutri is a good example, but like right now, they're doing a great job. They are not pulling the trigger super quick on the One Ring and banning it. They are not
They were talking about, for instance, the new Elishnorn.
Yeah.
When that was printed about a year ago now, but
Yeah, the one that doubles your ETBs and
prevents
stops
your opponent's
opponents.
ETBs. Yeah, they were talking about that being a card that was on the. They were just looking at it. People freaked out and were like, "Oh my god, this is the kind of card they banned." That was like they never said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the. Cards like that did not get banned before they were printed.
And
yeah.
also, like, when Dockside got a huge reprint and was everywhere, they were
They
like,
said,
we're watching
we're
Dockside.
looking at it. Yeah.
And I think that right now they're doing a fantastic job of letting things run their course. I genuinely think that people playing Commander are wanting to have fun. Even CEDH players.
Yeah.
CEDH players are looking for a different kind of fun, but like even they're looking for having a good time playing Commander.
Yeah.
And if there's one card that's causing problems in casual that is never being played in casual,
Yeah.
very rarely being played, is it a problem?
Is it a problem?
Is it actually a problem?
Yeah.
'Cause when was the last time you saw the One Ring in a casual game?
Yeah, it's when I cast it in my Azor the Lawbringer deck a little while ago.
Oh, you put the One Ring in Azor? Yeah,
I did.
that's
I mean,
amazing.
I got one in that pack. You bought me the scene card
the scene
thing.
cards, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like it's they unbanned Worldfire semi-recently. That was a few months ago now.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see it.
No,
in a
I've not
game.
seen anyone play it.
I think they understandably were like, look, it's a weird tool. If you can find a way to win with it, props to you. The rest of us are just probably not going to play that card.
And also, if your playgroup, this is the thing about, like, the rules committee talk a lot about trusted pods. And I think we don't give enough credit to the fact that we should be playing in trusted pods most of the time, I think.
Well, I think the assumption behind the way they run Commander is that most people play in trusted pods. So it's hard for them to police how... Because the thing is, you need the rules the most in untrusted pods.
Yes, that's
right?
where the bans are really relevant.
But it's tough because most Commander is played in trusted pods. So they're kind of walking this line of being like, we know most of you are playing in regular playgroups where you might have Sol Ring banned at your table, or you might have, a mulligan rule that you use. That's totally fine. But also this ban list and this philosophy document has to match that there are untrusted pods out there that need a ban list.
And like, now that we go to like more Commander events, and for firstly, Melbourne, Australia is getting events that we can play Commander at. Finally. I think that it's going to become more important to us than ever before. Like, I really want to hear from American listeners if you feel that in America or in England or in Scotland, wherever you are, that your experience playing Commander is more dictated by the rules committee because you're playing with more untrusted pods, like more randoms. Because I think that in Australia, where we don't have, Command or Magic Con or Command Fest or even like major tournament play where there is a Commander zone on the side.
Well, or like in Melbourne, where if you're talking about which game store you're going to go to, there are like 4 options and 2 of them are probably so far away that they're not even options at all.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean? Like someone will be like, oh, I don't play Commander at Good Games. And you can be like, oh, is it Maze of Fitzroy?
Yeah.
Is it plenty of
games in the CBD?
Or is it Box Hill? There's like the 4 options,
Yeah. If you come to Melbourne, we're most likely at Good Games in Greensboro.
Yeah.
But you can get us sometimes at Plenty of Games in Melbourne. But
Very
that's
rarely.
it. They're the pods. They're the places we go. So we know all the people there.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I agree. I want to hear if that's your experience in other places. Do you play mostly in trusted pods the way that the rules committee assumes that we are doing, or are you playing mostly in untrusted pods? I guess it'll depend on the person. Like I remember seeing when I wrote one of my articles for the Commander's Herald, and you posted like a Reddit discussion post, and someone was talking about how they they only have one deck. Full stop.
One deck.
They've been playing like 5 years or something. They only have the one Commander deck. And I was like, don't you struggle like adjusting power level depending on who you're playing with? And he was like, no, I'm in the military and I play in a different like state every other week.
Wow.
But it's funny because my mind immediately was like, you are having a problem with power level. You're just not hearing about it because you leave the state before it becomes a problem. There's no way you're like one extremely high powered and tuned deck is always fine at a game store. But anyway, I digress.
How often do you win?
Yeah.
No, I think on the whole, the rules committee do a good job.
Okay, so absolute power is what they were asking about. If we have the power to make the Commander Rules Committee indestructible forever.
Like the same people, the same way they're running it. No changes from here in terms of how they run the rules committee.
I think
that what
I'd
you're asking?
say yes. Yes? Question mark?
I don't think I'd change anything about it.
No. So if we're making the Commander Rules Committee indestructible, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. A soft yes.
A soft yes.
With our absolute power.
I'll tell you what, I'll put a caveat to my soft yes if I get nominated for an advisory role.
Commander Advisory Group. Yeah.
I would love to be on the CAG.
The CAG, yeah.
If anyone out there has any idea of how that happens, you can email us at getcommanded@gmail.com.
Yeah. Let us know.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of sad the fact that saying that they're doing a good job is a hot take because I feel
know.
like so many people are so quick to criticize
Yeah.
a small group of people
Yeah.
that are doing their best to regulate a, firstly, unofficially relegated format of
Yeah.
Magic by
Yeah.
Wizards.
Yeah.
And they are just doing it for the best for everyone.
Yeah.
They're like trying their best. Don't be dicks to the rules committee. They're
Yeah.
great people.
I think like the crucial thing there is like, do we imagine that a different group of people could do any better? And the answer to that is like, not really, you know? That's the most important thing is it's like, people are like, the Commander Rules Committee doesn't do things the way that I would want them to be done. It's like, cool. Imagine that you and your 6 friends created a format and now you manage a format for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's wildly
and there
popular.
there are thousands and thousands of people playing it.
Yeah. Do you think you would do a better job than those people? And I would hazard a guess that 95% of us no.
Wouldn't
you would
be
not be
capable,
better
no.
than them.
I tell you what, so soft yes, making them indestructible, but
Uh-huh.
like if they did something completely out of pocket,
Yeah, we change our mind.
yeah, we'd change our mind. It's
We're
not
talking
like,
for right now.
Yeah, right now, all good.
Cool.
right.
All right, your turn. Hot take. Give me a hot take.
All right, hot take. Okay, this is one I've been thinking about for a while.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people might go, that'll never work, that'll never happen.
Okay.
But I am not opposed to a Wizards like Wizards of the Coast running this, Commander tournament.
Whoa. Okay.
I think that there's a couple of things about this that have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, it has to be CEDH, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. If it's a competitive tournament, then there's
Yeah.
no other way you can run it. Like,
There either has to be CEDH or there has to be some kind of insane budget restriction, but budget is so hard to cap because it fluctuates.
and even then, you would just be playing budget CEDH.
Yeah,
which
you just-
exists. Like,
yeah.
you know, there are budget CEDH Eurocode decks that still can win on turn 5 and
Yeah,
stuff.
$100 decks that win on turn. It's
Yeah.
insanity. But like, I think the other thing that would have to happen is it would have to be a tournament for spectators, not for players. Like when I'm saying
Right.
the tournament would have to be like the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not everyone can enter the Olympics.
No.
Like I go for runs. I run, but I'm not going to enter I'm not going to go to tryouts for the Olympic team. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like Olympic athletes are the peak of physical human conditioning.
Okay.
And they are the best at what they do and they are like, you know, top of the line, best of the best.
Yeah, yeah.
There are people in the CEDH world that are considered the best of the best. Like there are tournament winners that are very well known. You know, even like, you know, Dylan and Cam from Play to Win.
Yep.
Like, you know, these guys that are very well established in Commander from a competitive analytical angle and aren't just in it for fun. I know
Yeah.
that sounds dumb compared to what
No,
I
that's
literally
fair.
just said,
So
but like
we're talking about a competitive tournament. This makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be like a streamed event. I was about to say televised, but who watches TV anymore? It would have to be a thing that's like a huge international friendly tournament where, you know, you've got the likes of Cam, like the Spike Feeders, you know, Post Malone making an appearance playing CDH. Like I'm talking like I think it would be something that's like for the spectators.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to try and qualify, I guess there could be something like that. But I think that it's a hot take because I think that people think that Commander can't be competitive. But there are tournaments out there. And there are tournaments
Okay.
right now that are getting good.
I want to pick your brains a little bit here because I think I can see 2 different ideas here. One is like a Commander Pro Tour event, which is like, that would be like, to me, that's the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, that is a Pro Tour. Yeah,
there'd be a
Olympics
qualifier,
is,
there'd
yeah.
be like a, you know, best of 8, 8 bracket, you know, like that kind of thing, you know, double elimination, whatever format they chose. Like that would be like a Pro Tour but Commander.
Yep.
But then I think you've also got this thing of like it being spectator, like having content creators and Post Malone and stuff. That sounds to me more like what game nights do.
With the Game Nights Live
Game
stuff.
Nights Live. So, but I guess if it's Wizards sanctioned, I don't know. I guess to me, if I imagine Wizards is running a Commander tournament, I can only think of that in the sense that it is a Pro Tour.
A Pro Tour thing.
What do you think?
I mean, it's a hot take, so it's not well thought through. But that's what a whole hot take is, right? I think that I could see it being a qualifier. You have to enter and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the problem with it is, if it's a Wizard sanctioned thing, proxies wouldn't be allowed. And that's a really big problem for CEDH specifically.
Yeah, there's just like, if you ran a Pro Tour scale event, there are probably not enough copies of Mox Diamond that exist.
Yes,
you know, like,
yeah, and
for how many people would enter that tournament.
And I think naturally what would happen is you would only get the people that actually have the cards playing in these tournaments.
Which is not what you want.
But this is the thing. I kind of would want that. I would want to see like a very high scale, real as it gets thing. Look, okay, if we had absolute power, and we were on the committee of Pro Tour at Wizards of the Coast.
Okay, so we're like, are we going to green light a CDH tournament tomorrow or next week?
That runs alongside, the modern Pro Tour.
Okay, so yeah, Pro Tour, it's happening next week. We're going to make it so there's a CDH tournament that's happening. Would we do it?
Probably not.
Okay.
I know I had the hot take. I feel so weird to say, but I think that if I was on that advisory board of like, do I green light a CDH tournament? I think it would get so much backlash that it would be so bad for Wizards.
Right.
Because you are basically price locking people out of this tournament.
Yeah.
Like, I think the thing about like Magic is that it is a pretty close to a pay to win thing. It's like specifically like modern and standard even.
Well,
it's
any way that you play that's not proxied, right? Like
correct.
It's just you have to pay a certain amount for all the cards.
Yeah. And well, also like if the top of the meta, if the scientifically backed proven deck is $600 in standard, and you're not playing that deck, you're not playing the top of the meta.
No.
But like at the same way, sometimes in standard, the best deck is,
$100
24 mountains and a bunch of burn spells. Like that kind of, that's very affordable standard. But CEDH, we know what CEDH costs.
Yeah, I mean, the average deck is going to be $3,000 and some of them are going to be more like $5,000 or $6,000.
I think the top of CEDH meta right now is coming in at like maybe some like 4-color decks, most probably still
all the dual lands that you need.
Yeah, still Kenrith, still Najeela would sit at the top of competitive formats. Even like some Sans Blue partners, like I know Blood Pod or Timnatana isn't probably the top of the meta, but like those decks are very expensive. $10,000+.
Yeah.
I think it would just be impossible to actually make happen.
Okay.
But I would like to see it. That's my hot take. I think it'd be sick.
You'd like to see it. I respect that.
The reason why I'm also saying no is that there are already CDH tournaments that are proxy friendly that are happening around the world all the time. Specifically, you can join us on our Twitch stream. On what date is it?
I will pull it up on my phone.
Get your calendar out.
Just kidding. I know it off the top of my head. It's the 17th of February.
17th of February. We are going to be streaming on twitch.tv/getcommanded.
Yep.
The Dockside Debacle 3, which will be all day spent with Walt and I in a stream watching CDH and commentating and seeing how it all progresses to the grand final.
If you think that me and James in the podcast studio today on hour 3 of recording are a bit unhinged, wait till you see hour 7 of streaming a Commander tournament.
I want there to be like a weird count in the corner of our stream of how many energy drinks James drinks throughout the day.
Oh God, I would hazard a guess that it would be
heart attack level.
It would kill me. Yeah, it would kill me, that amount.
What about you? Do you reckon you would greenlight something like that?
No, I'm with you. The drawbacks are there and they're too big. I agree that it would be cool to see. Like, yeah, if it was possible that you could either like give everyone who wanted to enter all the cards they needed in whatever way that wasn't proxies, or Wizards like allows proxies, like in whatever way that it could happen that would dodge that main problem of the price, I would want to see it. But in the world that we actually live in, unfortunately, it's just not there.
It's just not possible. But like, I encourage people to engage with competitive Commander. CDH is something I'm really getting more involved in.
Yep.
And especially like competitive Magic. I think that it's just, we've spent the last good amount of years without competitive Magic. And I think competitive Magic is at the core of all, even though Commander and Casual Commander is the like most popular way to play right now, there is something in the core of Magic the Gathering as a whole that is competitive, and I think it's enjoyable, and I think we should support competitive Magic, even if it's a off the record against Wizards CDH tournament that Get Commanded stream.
Yep. I'm with you. But that brings me to my next hot take.
Go on.
It goes a little against what you just said. My hot take, that is not so hot, is Commander being the most popular way to play Magic is a good thing.
Oh, this is... okay, I would consider this a lukewarm take.
I respect that.
Because I think that there are like lots of people who would agree with you, and then there are some people that would shoot you dead for saying that Commander is the best thing for Magic.
Yeah, I respect that. But for me, like, I think often about the reason that Commander is the most popular way to play Magic at the moment. I think there's a few reasons. I think rotation of cards is one. I think Eternal formats are really popular for this reason, that you don't have to replace your cards all the time.
Build a deck, it's done forever.
But I think the main thing is that Commander, more than any other format, IMO, I know there's other multiplayer formats, but it emphasizes the gathering part of Magic.
Yeah.
It's casual, it's social, it requires 4 players to play properly.
I think it's what Richard Garfield originally wanted. People around a kitchen table having fun.
There's a reason that the earliest Magic cards look kind of like Monopoly cards, and it's because it was sort of supposed to emulate... I know it became competitive and he was aware of that and liked that, but like, I think it was sort of a board game, you know, in that way that people play Go Fish, but with more steps is Magic the Gathering. But look, I think it's popular because it's just a really great way to spend time with your friends. Like,
Walt and I wouldn't spend many hours of our weeks playing the game and writing articles and writing podcasts and editing videos for it if we didn't love it this much.
No, I can't think of many things you can do that force 4 people to get together, sit at a table, and talk that don't involve alcohol.
Especially at our age.
Yeah.
Especially at our age.
But every age group can play Commander. Like, it's a 12-plus game.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that 1v1 Magic doesn't quite capture that same board game around the table feel, especially competitive 1v1 Magic. And I think, you know, look at the sort of rising star of Commander gameplay content. We've talked about them before. Commander at Home.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive on YouTube, getting more and more popular by the day. I just today was watching a video of theirs and saw that the comments were like, I used to love watching, I won't slander anyone, gameplay content this channel, and Commander at Home is now my favorite and the main one that I watch. And honestly, I'm the same because it captures the feeling of 4 friends being around a table, laughing, joking around, and the game is secondary, you know? I
love this. I actually, I agree with this.
I have a sub hot take.
Oh, hot take 2.1 for Walt.
That's it. I think that learning Magic through playing Commander is fine. Not saying it's optimal, but I'm saying it's fine. I think it's important that people start playing a game in a low stakes, fun-based, and in the case of Magic, paper environment. I think it's very important that people get their hands on the cards and get around a kitchen table as soon as possible. And I think Commander is perfect for teaching that because you can't really play it very well on MTGO and certainly not on Arena.
And you definitely can't play it when you're thrown into a game store and the LGS owner is like, right, these are your seating positions for the limited environment. Please sit down. Now you have to draft. And you're like, what do I draft? What do I pick? And there's someone next to you going, I'm not going to tell you how because now you're going to pass me good cards.
Yeah, or like going to your local standard tournament and pulling out a store-bought deck that you bought and it's like, hey, cool deck, that card's banned now.
Oh, yeah.
So 4 cards in your store-bought deck don't work anymore. That's a very niche example, but you know, like buying a standard deck and going to a standard event and getting absolutely obliterated, I don't think is the best way to learn a game.
No, it definitely won't bring new players back.
No.
But even if you lose and play Commander and you have a really good time, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, what do you agree with my Commander being the most popular way to play Magic is a good thing, and my subtake learning Magic through Commander is fine?
Yes, I agree with the first about how Commander being the most popular way to play is great. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to fully agree to your subtake, and I'll explain why in my next hot take.
All right, I respect it. Okay, so then absolute power?
Yeah, so what's our absolute power question here?
Do we make it... okay, this is real absolute power now. This is like God level stuff. Do we make it so that Commander remains the most popular format for all time?
Yes.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
I'm saying yes.
If I had... Yeah, I would straight up be like, even if someone was like, oh, I figured out this new way to play, it's super cheap, it's multiplayer and all this kind of stuff, but it differs to Commander in this way... Nah, fuck you. Commander's still amazing. Because Commander covers everything. You can build budget decks. You can build competitive. You can play with friends. Flavor. You can play with strangers.
Yep.
Fuck, this format is so good.
It's so good.
We should start a podcast about it. Would you guys listen to that?
I guess the caveat I want to put here, because I realize this is the spot we're being shoehorned into, is assuming Commander, because Commander is run by a small group of people. We said we trust them and like them.
Yeah.
But let's say that some despot becomes the leader of the Commander Rules Committee and changes all the rules and makes it so that now, in order to cast a spell, you have to spin around 4 times and say, eat me, eat my butt. Then I wouldn't like Commander to be the most popular way to play Magic anymore.
I don't know. I might still play it.
So, absolute power. Yes, we're making Commander the most popular form for all time, assuming that Commander remains what Commander is.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
Don't kill us in the comment section.
That's what this episode's about, man.
Yeah.
Come at us. If you don't agree with our hot takes, come at us.
Come at us. We should have spun around 4 times and said, eat my butt, eat my butt, eat my butt instead. That's my bad. Sorry.
It's just... People are going to commission art for that.
Oh, don't. No, you can't say that. Now they will.
All right.
Sorry.
My next hot take. We'll do one more and then we'll have a break because
Okay.
I'm getting hot under the collar with this.
Sounds good.
Now, I referenced a second ago that learning to play Magic through Commander, that was your subtake, was fine.
You disagreed with that?
I'm going to take it one step further. My hot take is Commander is the worst way to learn how to play Magic the Gathering.
Whoa.
The worst.
Okay.
It's a pretty big hot take in terms of following on from what you just said. And the fact that I even supported you saying, like, it's fun, it's low stakes and all that kind of stuff, which you are totally right. Mm-hmm. It is low stakes. Learning how to play in an environment like, in a game store and all that kind of stuff is terrifying. However, there are so many variables about Commander that make it just objectively worse to learn. For example, our card pool is the biggest card pool.
Yep.
Our card structure is singleton. Our deck variance is more varied than like colors of the friggin' rainbow. Like the game is different every single time you play it. And that, for an experienced player, is fun. That's why we play Commander, right? We're looking for this. We want variance. We want randomness and all this kind of stuff. But in my opinion, if you are brand new and if you've got mates, like I've had friends that are like, what's this hobby about Magic the Gathering that you're getting into, Commander? I should learn it. I never, ever have asked a mate to sit down and play Commander with me for the first time. I always point them in the direction of Magic the Gathering Arena first.
Yep. Okay. Weirdly, I actually agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. So your hot take last time was that.
I know.
Okay.
I want to explain the nuance of my position. I completely agree that the most optimal way to learn Magic is the arena tutorial. We said that in our new players episode.
Yes.
I can still stand behind that and endorse that. It's the most optimal. However, I think so many people get hung up on like, no, people shouldn't learn Magic through Commander. Like they're so staunchly against it that they forget that people are doing it every day. Like I learned most of my Magic rules through playing Commander.
That's true. We fumbled through it together for a long time.
We made got a lot of things wrong. Yeah. Misinterpreted rules, misinterpreted how the stat
There was
works.
once upon a time where we thought Commander damage could be dealt by the Commander in any way.
Like non-combat damage.
So for example, I was playing Niv Mizzet Perun and I thought if I drew 21 cards and hit Walt 21 times,
I'd lose the game.
Yeah.
We were wrong.
We were very wrong.
So wrong. But so the nuance of my position is your spot is Commander is the worst way to learn how to play Magic the Gathering. I agree with you.
Yes.
However, I will say that my sub-take before I still also stand by, which is that it's fine to learn how to play Magic through Commander. It's suboptimal. It's still an okay way to do it. And I want to acknowledge that there are people where the thing that draws them to Magic more than anything else is the socializing.
Yeah, okay.
And Magic the Gathering Arena will teach you the mechanics of Magic so well and so efficiently, especially the tutorial, but it will not teach you socializing. It will not teach you how to table politic, and it will not let you sit at a kitchen table with your mates and laugh at the mistakes that you make.
Okay, I concede that Commander is a fine way to learn because, to be fair, I kind of learned through that as well. Like, I started playing Limited, I started playing Standard. That was my birthplace of Magic, but I very quickly jumped into Commander. I concede to that, but I'm glad that we both agree that it is the worst way to learn.
We can acknowledge it because we did it. You know, we know it's a bad way to do it.
Just
but
to
we
learn
did
the simple mechanics, like just to learn how to tap for mana, what trample means, all that kind of stuff,
and not being bombarded with like, oh, I'm playing against a foretell deck. What the hell is a foretell deck? Can I counterspell a foretell card?
I'm going to regenerate my Commander.
What does that mean? What does that do? Who are you? Where am I?
I cast Swords. What is Swords?
What is Swords?
Is it an equipment? I learned about equipment the other day. Is Swords to Plowshares an equipment? All right, okay. I'm glad we both agree, but
absolute
the Space
power.
Commanders want us with absolute power. So would we... Okay, I'm going to put it like, if we had absolute power, would we force everyone that wanted to play Commander to have to prove before they sit down at a Commander table that they've completed the arena tutorial? It's like showing your ID at a club. You have to to walk into a Commander night, you have to show that you've completed the arena tutorial.
I'm imagining it more like in primary school when they give you a pen license.
Congrats, you can now write with a pen.
Yeah, you've learned how to tap lands. Welcome to Commander. No, I'm not going to force every new player to play Arena, but I will continue to recommend that they do it first.
Yeah, I'm in a similar spot. No way am I going to force someone to enjoy the game the way I think they should approach enjoying the game.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, if I did have absolute power, I would bring multiplayer. I think this is something everyone wants. I would bring multiplayer to Arena, so people can learn the tutorial on Arena and play with people on Discord and learn the mechanics in a way that, you drag a card up, it automatically taps your lands. You don't have to think about too much.
So basically, you would want the Commander card pool on... You've got absolute power.
Yes.
Would you create the entire Commander card pool on Arena, make it so that you can queue casual games with your friends, play Commander on Arena?
1,000%. That would be the coolest thing. But look, even if I had absolute power, like God level powers, that I could port every single card that's legal in Commander into Arena, which, by the way, Wizards have said is very difficult.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a reason there's cards from recent-ish sets, 2017, 16, that are not in Arena because it's we have to code that. That has to work the way it does in paper.
Sideline, loving Timeless at the moment. Timeless is a sick format.
Respect.
What I would do, though, in a realistic world where I had absolute power, is I would make Brawl multiplayer. I would find a way to get Brawl on Arena 4-player. That's what I'd try and do.
Brawl, for those who may not know, was Wizards' foray at trying to supplant Commander, I think. It was basically Commander, except you had to use the standard ban list and rotation. So you can play only standard legal cards, but then you have a Commander in the command zone. Every other aspect of the game works exactly like it does in Commander, except that it's a 1v1 format that uses the standard ban list.
And 60-card minimum deck, not 100-card minimum.
And you can have multiple copies of a card, right? It's not singleton.
I
think? No?
I've not played Brawl on Arena in ages. This is how popular Brawl is. Yeah, I did play the Brawl tournament that was held at our local game store when the Throne of Eldraine set came out.
That was the beginning of Brawl, wasn't it?
I played Hullen and was playing into people that were playing Corvold before everyone realized what the fuck Corvold can do. Yeah. I'm not too sure. I actually have no idea.
60-card singleton.
60-card singleton, so you can't have multiple cards. So it is
exactly like Commander. Yeah. It's just 60 cards. 1v1, and it uses the standard ban list.
The reason I hesitated on whether you could have multiple is because I remember as part of the tournament that my LGS held was that when you won a game, you could open a pack and you could put cards from that pack into your deck. And I think
told me about this.
Yeah, it was a really interesting tournament. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if they ran it the same globally or if I wasn't super, involved in the competitive scene at that time, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
Throne of Eldraine Limited and like the closed environment of Throne of Eldraine was amazing.
Yeah,
I
we
really
know it
enjoyed
broke standard. Don't hate us, but
I'm
in
not making a hot
isolation-
take that Throne of Eldraine and Theros Beyond Death were the best periods of standard.
No.
That is not a hot take I'm willing to make.
You won't die on that hill. That's 4 hot takes. That seems like a fair few to start with. I reckon
Alright.
we better take a thrifty interlude.
A
So we've got-
thrifty interlude. Like
Yeah.
a break from hot takes. So this is like the plunge pool, the ice bath.
We're having an ice bath,
We're going to be cool.
and
after
you're
this.
invited. And
Come
we're
on in.
all. No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Leaving that completely
You
behind.
reversed so hard just
I
then.
was
That was
just like,
entertaining.
I don't want that on the record. So we're going to hear a little something about a thrifty card. And as is tradition, I will be performing a monologue. And this week, the card is brought to life in monologue form from the perspective of someone in the card. James, would you like to read the card I'm featuring this week?
I sure would, and I know exactly what this card does because I think it's in every single one of your white decks. It's Rumor Gatherer. For 1 white and a white, you'll get a Elf Wizard 2/1 that has Alliance. When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, draw a card instead.
Oh, I've known about your father's foot odor jars for years, of course, like everyone else, I'm sure. I don't see why you should be so shocked. I know a little something about everyone. That wasn't even the most shocking thing I heard that day. Now let's think, what else did I hear on the grapevine? Well, there was Nico Bolas's favorite variety of tea, but everyone and their sister knows about Rooibos. Jace's birth name, now there was a tough nut to crack. The peephole over Sarah's bath, Will and Rowan's real parents, when Squee will die. Now that's all just old news. Of course, how could I forget? I know where Garrick is, and more importantly, I know where he gets his hair cut. Oh, forgive me, I have spoken incorrectly. I know what he asks for when he gets his hair cut. Let me tell you, I'd wear a helmet all day myself if I willingly subjected myself to that. Get budgeted.
The peephole over Sarah's bath.
Everyone wants to know about that.
That's a rumor that's been going around the plains for years.
It's like it seems more like something people are like trying to find. That seems more like the lost city of El Dorado.
The peephole over Sarah's bath.
You can see those in text form when they're released every Thursday in the Greensboro Commander Community Discord server, which is where me and James hang out. There's a Thrifty Thursdays channel, and every Thursday one of those comes out. It's good fun.
Yeah, and you can also hear rumors about Will and Rowan's real parents.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Maybe not. Rumors are rumors for a reason, but this card is a banger. This goes in any token deck.
It's
This
so
is
good.
so good. If you're pumping out 2 creatures a turn, you're drawing an extra card with a little bit of card advantage on
Yeah.
top. It's good.
It's like very, very easy in the right deck to scry 1 and draw a card every turn. And keep in mind, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th times this happens, you still just scry
scry.
1.
Yeah.
You only draw the 1 time, but you're still scrying.
So you still sift through a good chunk of your deck.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
play this in Reese, don't you?
I have it in Reese, and I think I'm
In Marchesa as well, I think?
I'm not sure if I have it in Marchesa.
Might not be goth enough.
No, it's not goth enough
Yeah.
to fit the goth vibes, but it's definitely in Reese, and it is amazing. in
Goths
there.
don't gossip.
You heard it here first, folks. Goths don't gossip.
All right, should we get back
Let's get
into
back
some
into-
spicy hot takes?
Let's do some hot takes. I think it was my turn.
Yeah, your turn.
This is a simple one. No more free spells.
What? As in, like, your hot take is never print another free spell again.
Yep. And I'll be specific here. They keep on printing cards that are basically free. Obviously, the famous ones of this is the free spells that came out in Commander 2020. Flawless Maneuver, Fierce Guardianship is the best one. The free
Deflecting SWAT is the red one. I remembered it this time.
Nice.
Last time we spoke about this, everyone gave me shit because I couldn't remember the red one. It's Deflecting SWAT.
It's Deflecting SWAT. Deadly Rollick is an outstanding removal spell that costs nothing.
But even the worst ones in that cycle, like Obscuring Haze and Flawless Maneuver.
Flawless Maneuver is you can't board wipe me.
Yep.
My stuff gains indestructible.
Instant speed protection for
Obscuring
free.
Haze is a free fog. Prevents all combat damage as well that would be dealt by creatures your opponents control.
So
People
you can
forget
still
this.
block?
Yeah, it's not a fog because fog effects just say no combat damage is dealt. This says only fog your opponent's creatures. You can block and kill your opponent's entire board and not take a single point of damage.
That's like a free Arachnogenesis kind of. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
blocks,
Arachnogenesis. Straight up.
This card is better than I remember it being.
It's so good.
I have seen it in your Mo'u deck a few times and it's cracked.
It's so good there. Look, like they are printing more and more of them. Obviously, the Convoke was in standard sets recently. They printed Clever Concealment. This is my least favorite recent one. Phases out your entire board, has Convoke. If you have 4 creatures, one of them's white. Cool. You can never be board wiped. You just phase out your whole board. Pile-On is a removal spell that also lets you Surveil, has Convoke. It's 3 and a black. Lethal Scheme, also 3 and a black. Destroys a creature. And Connives has Convoke. I'm just tired of them. And look, like... every time you're describing Magic, you say Magic is a resource management game.
I do,
Yes, you are managing the spell itself, the card in your hand that is this spell. It just completely circumnavigates the fact that you actually need to plan your turns with mana. It's just like, nope, you can tap out completely, and as long as you have that spell in your hand, you're safe. I just find it really boring.
Okay.
I find most spells like this, like Teferi's Protection, I think is boring, but at least you actually have to pay for it. You know,
and it's
you have
3 mana. Like
Yeah.
you need to like anticipate 3 mana being held on like sandbagged to be able to cast it on your turn. Whereas Flawless Maneuver is just like I can use every bit of resource I have, but still have Fierce Guardianship in my hand.
Yeah, and like the thing is as well, resources are managed in Magic, and most of them are more fun when you can see them, right? You can see cards in library, you can see cards in graveyard, you can see the number of cards in someone's hand, you can see how much mana they have open.
Yeah, 2 open islands might be a counterspell.
Could be a counterspell.
Yeah.
Someone's got 3 open mana, one of it's white, it could be Teferi's Protection.
It's
know
part
that,
of the fun.
Yeah,
for you,
it's important to me, and I just like even the bad ones, like Obscuring Haze in my Mo'u deck makes my Mo'u deck like so much stronger just by having that one card in it. Because now, when I draw 15 cards in a turn, which is feasible when you've got a 15-15, you draw cards equal to its power.
Yep.
I'm just keeping an Obscuring Haze in my turn, and now if I get to my next turn, I just win the game, and I have the means to get to my next turn because I have a free fog. I don't know. I find that every single deck that has one of these spells in it just makes the deck so much stronger and makes playing against it so much more boring. And look, like you can look at other formats. Modern has been ruined by evoke creatures. Really?
Yeah, Rakdos Scam.
Completely
Fury.
ruined Modern for however long because of Fury and Grief.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I just think like leave the ones that are there. I'm not making an argument for banning them, though. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Just stop printing more of them. That's my thing. Don't print a single other free spell into Commander. We have enough of them. They're already boring. We don't need any more.
Ooh.
Do you agree?
No.
Okay.
I fully respect and understand what you're saying in that, like, we are getting some that are just objectively the right thing to put in your deck. I think that's the problem. In my opinion, when it's like auto include, that's when it's bad, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're playing blue and you are playing Commander, why wouldn't you put in Fierce Guardianship in
Besides
your deck?
price, obviously.
Besides
and
price. Like,
accessibility
yeah.
of cards and that kind of thing. That's a separate thing. But like,
price being no option.
Yeah, power aside, price aside, you are probably wrong to not play Fierce Guardianship in most decks.
Well, I mean, you should actually, a really good thing to look at here would be, I know we talked about it a bit this episode, but CDH.
Yeah.
Have a look at CDH. Look at all the free spells that CDH runs. Why? Because they're very strong.
Yeah.
Every blue deck will have a Force of Will in it.
Yeah.
Okay, some might not, but
yes, a good chunk of them will.
A good chunk of them, pretty much 99% of them will have Force of Will, Fierce Guardianship.
Yep, some of them will have Pact of Negation.
Force of Negation, yeah. Like, the reason these cards are so strong is because they're so good. So the reason I'm disagreeing with you and saying I would have more free spells printed is because I would say that we are happy to have more free spells, but free spells that are worse than the ones that we currently have.
Okay.
So, like, I don't think it's the free spells that are bad. I think it's what they're doing, personally.
So, like, for you... So, for instance, in Brothers War... Not Brothers War... The multiversal, one of those ones.
One of the ones from the March of the Machine timeline that we all forgot about the story because it was not that good.
I know, not that good. But the Transcendent Message. This is the
Convoke blue draw?
Yep, blue, X, draw X cards, has Convoke. You can tap your whole board out. If you've got 10 creatures, you might draw 6 cards. You're cool with spells like that.
I'm super hot on that card.
Okay,
I'm super hot on that card.
That's fair. I don't find Transcendent Message level cards a problem in my games.
Yeah, and I also think that it's like, what is Transcendent Message? Blue? Is it 4 blue?
Yeah.
That's a lot of blue.
Yeah.
You have to have 4 blue creatures to be able to tap into it before you start drawing cards.
A 3-color token deck, probably.
It goes in a very specific type of deck, right? Very specific type of deck. And I think that it's not the fact that spells can be free or virtually free with Convoke or like by pitching a card, or maybe even like if some new cards came out as like, or you can discard your hand instead of paying the mana cost. Like some really big downsides, or like versions of free effects that, like, you know, get you to pitch a card or something like that. It's what they do. And I think the problem is what they do, not the fact that they're free. I think having free interaction and even free, like, stuff to do in Commander is good, because then it's still a resource management game. Like, for example, like with the blue creatures for Transcendent Message, they have to be untapped.
Yeah. So you have to not attack maybe that turn. You might have to make sure that if you attack, you leave your blue creatures open. Okay, I respect that. All right. Yep.
All right. So coming to a point now where we have ascended to the level of Gavin Verhey and Mark Rosewater
so
themselves.
we're in R&D at Wizards of the Coast in the Magic the Gathering. Do we want to force R&D to never print a free spell again? If it's up to me, you make a compelling argument. I'm still going to say yes. Right. I'm happy to not see any more of them.
So you would want to never see Convoke again. Because Convoke is one of the ones you're using as an example of, or Evoke, even like Evoke, exile a card from your hand. Like, that's an alternate casting cost that makes things free.
I guess it would depend what we're defining as a free spell.
Okay.
I would say
nothing like Fierce Guardianship in that cycle again.
I think I'd be happy to see. I don't want to see Convoke spells that are so easy they're basically free. So, for instance, like the Clever Concealment. I don't want to ever see a card like that again. Don't want to see anything like Fierce Guardianship. I'm okay with Transcendent Message. So I guess I don't have quite as hardline a stance as I might appear at first.
But yes, kind of changed your opinion here.
You shifted me a bit. I do like Convoke spells.
I will point out that Sprout Swarm can be free, and it can be free with buyback.
My argument is not banning them. My argument is to never print them again.
So you're saying never print any more again?
No, I'm happy to see the back of them. I might make an exception for very high cost or difficult cost Convoke spells, but otherwise, yes, stop them again. How about you?
Nah, I would let R&D do its magic and find fun ways for free interaction to be a thing. Like, maybe it's I really like there was a cycle in Armenket that were like ridiculously undercosted spells, but you skip your untap step.
Oh, like Bontu's Last Reckoning or whatever it is?
Bontu's Last Reckoning, it's 1 black and a black, destroy all creatures.
Lands you control don't untap during
the
next
I think
step.
it might even be lands specifically don't untap, or might just skip your whole untap step. Like Oketra's Last Moment is like you go back to your starting life total or something like that. But it doesn't untap. I would love a free spell that has a big downside like skip your untap step.
Okay.
Because then that's like or like what, maybe it's something like if you cast this spell without paying its mana cost, skip your untap step.
So like then still managing. You're going like, okay, I can go all in but at this heavy cost, or I can pay the cost and have this happen.
Let me have a crack at redesigning Fierce Guardianship.
Okay.
2 blue and a blue.
Okay.
Counter target non-creature spell. You may cast this card without paying its mana cost. If you do, skip your untap step.
Whoa.
Would that still see play?
I think it would, because it was basically Pact of Negation, really.
Yeah, because you have to tap. Yeah.
It wouldn't.
5
It
mana,
wouldn't be
okay.
ubiquitous the way that Fierce Guardianship is, but
Mm-hmm.
it would still be like okay, I'm going off. I'm comboing off in CDH. This is my last counter spell.
Maybe if I also slapped on the Force of Negation text of if it's not your turn, you may play it without paying its mana cost.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because then it's like then there's the game of like you have to think about either tapping out or holding up resources for it.
Yeah, I like that. Would you still have it that you have to control your commander? Or you're just happy to leave that behind completely.
I'm happy to leave that behind. I also don't.
I think it's fair the
I'm
way
happy to
you
leave that
described
behind.
it. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Wizard R&D, sign me up,
Yep,
baby.
get James in
Fixing
R&D,
it.
and apparently everything will be fine.
Yeah.
What's your next hot take, James?
Oh, it's coming up a lot this episode, but I want to talk a bit more about CDH.
Okay.
My hot take around CDH is that casual players should play CDH and CDH players should play casual.
Okay.
I currently think there is a divide, a warring between factions of, I'm a CDH player, I don't touch casual because power level's impossible to balance. It's not. No. Or casual players being like, I don't like to play CDH because it's too competitive and sweaty. It's not. I think that there is like a very strong misconception about both in both camps. And look, most Commander players that I know currently are playing both and are enjoying both. And the reason why this is my hot take is because I've seen the positive effects of casual players trying CDH. And I've seen the positive effects of CDH players trying casual. The thing that I think this does is makes you really understand the difference between what competitive commander is and what casual commander is.
I think it lets you look at, especially, I think the most common form of this, well, actually it goes both ways. People staunch CDH players will be like, casual games are just like battle cruiser and anything goes. And
There'll be 10 board wipes and I'll be sat there for years.
yeah, I'll be there for 4 hours or whatever. And it's like, well, no, the average casual game does not look like that. But then casual players will turn around and be like, CDH is just full of spikes. You combo off on turn 2 and all this stuff. And it's like, no, that's not what CDH looks like.
Not.
And
actually,
also
the personality type is the one that I hear a lot about, the spike thing.
Yeah.
Most of the CDH players I play with, I love them. I
Yeah.
love them a bit. And they're
well,
the
there's
most
nothing wrong with being a spike. You've described me as a spike several times before.
Yeah, and
I
you're a
don't
spike in casual.
I play hardly any CDH. I just like to be extremely meticulous with building my decks and how I sequence my turns and stuff, because that's just how I enjoy the game. But it doesn't mean that I'm annoying to play against, or like a stickler for the rules, or like, gonna pull you up and tell you untapped incorrectly. Like, I'm not that guy, but that's how people think of the word spike. It's not what the word has ever meant.
No, they're just optimizing is what the word I think about with.
Yeah.
Look,
and it's fun.
It is. I 100% agree. I'm going to add a bit of a sub-take to this, sub-hot
I
take.
did it before. It's only fair.
I want to say that the problem in this space of like the divide between casual and CDH are certain types of players and play groups that keep pushing the power level of their casual decks. And I'm not saying that you can't play casual with Mana Crypt and with a Force of Will. I'm not saying that the second you include those, it's CDH. But the players that do keep pushing the line between casual and competitive, I think they're creating a bit more of a problem than they realize. Because when they sit down at like an untrusted pod with players that they've never played with before,
At a convention or a new game store or something,
their perception of power is so skewed. Rule Zero conversations are super challenging at the best of times, but I think that Mana Crypt and Rhystic Study doesn't necessarily mean you're playing CDH, but if you play enough of these cards in your deck, and your deck is getting close to a CDH database list, but it's not quite CDH because you still play this one goofy weird spell.
Yeah.
Screw it, 99 cards plus that one weird spell. If 99 cards are like the CDH level, you're pushing it. Like, and I think that it's really hard to define the difference between really high-powered casual play, which is a thing and should exist. I'm not saying that shouldn't exist. But you need to understand the line.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to do it is my original hot take, which is I think all casual players should play CDH and all CDH players should play casual.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, people need to dive into the deep end so that when they stand outside the pool and look in the middle, they don't go like, oh my God, it's 10 meters deep there.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not.
No,
That's
yeah.
the middle of the pool.
Yeah.
And likewise, people who have climbed in the shallow end and are creeping towards the deep end and standing on the edge and being like, no, I'm not in the deep end yet. It's only like 3 meters down to where my feet hit the floor. It's like, well, actually, you're pretty far from the edge of the pool back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're agreeing? You're agreeing with this?
I 100% agree.
Nice.
I am so glad that I took the plunge and placed a big proxy order and proxied up a CDH deck and just started
I was so
playing.
proud of you the day you did that, because I was playing CDH before you were.
For a decent chunk of time, yeah.
And you...
I was watching a lot of CDH, admittedly. I knew what I was getting into because I watched a lot of casually competitive, I watched a lot of play to win, a lot of...
I'm a huge play to win fan at the moment.
Who are the ones who do... Oh, I can't remember. There's another CDH channel that I was watching a lot of. Casually? No, I said casually competitive. Anyway, can't remember. I was watching a lot of CDH content. I knew what the format was like, but I was like, I should actually play this thing. And it gives you an appreciation for the way that some people approach deck building and approach the game of playing Commander, where it's this like...
Even approach politics.
Yeah. It's an extremely intricate puzzle, and if you find the right piece, then that's the satisfaction and stuff. And to be honest, it actually... And this is something that you can gain as well. You can actually learn a lot about what you don't like.
Yeah.
So actually playing CDH made me realize, like, okay, I can appreciate this. I like this. I think I know that most of the time I want to be playing in mid to low power casual Commander games.
Where the decks cost $100 and they're playing really bizarre cards.
My budget brews are viable. I actually, once I start creeping to a certain spot in the power level spectrum, unless I'm playing an extremely busted Commander, you can't really do it on a budget. And you can't play those janky fun cards that you like because you're just literally limiting what your deck can do.
Yeah, and you got to find the right pods for that.
Yeah, but I'm so glad I played CDH, and I'm so glad I still play CDH because it gives me an opportunity to be like, no, okay, let's actually just remember what the top of the format looks like for a little while, because it lets you then be in the pool, and when someone's like, oh, this is my deck, it's got a crypt in it, I usually win with an infinite combo, this is my little area of the shallow end of the pool, I'm like, actually, the pool goes another 50 meters that way, and I'm back there. It helps. It helps to conceptualize.
I like this swimming pool visualization. So, okay, we have absolute power.
Yep.
Do we, again, this is a weird one, do we force casual players? Do we like sit them down at a table, chain their feet to the floor and make them play a CDH game and give a CDH player a $50 Commander deck and force them to play casual?
I think at least once.
Yeah, I'm actually of the same mind. I genuinely think if I had absolute power, I would make, and especially some of the CDH players that I play with that are very anti-casual.
Yeah.
I'm like, just try it at least once now. Like, try it, and also try it in a really good environment. Try it in an environment where you're playing with friends, people you trust, people you know, and that you've had a really good Rule Zero discussion.
Yep.
Don't just like rock up to a convention, play with a bunch of untrusted pods,
and then conclude that casual sucks, which I'm sure some of these people have done. Yeah. Try it once and you will... And honestly, if you're a CDH player, play someone's like really flavorful deck.
Yeah.
Because I think CEH players hop into casual and go like, oh man, so many of these cards are suboptimal, and kind of miss the forest for the trees. Like they're not seeing...
Yeah, I love that expression.
Yeah.
The forest for the trees.
And I think what they need to do is hop in and like, you know, pilot my bloody knights deck where everything is a knight or a sword or a lance or armor or like, you know, valorous stance. You know, it feels like a knightly battlefield.
Play my Tornos charge counters deck.
Yeah.
Like there are so many better artifacts that you could be comboing with.
Play a deck that is a combo deck that doesn't go infinite. You know, like experience these different lenses people see the game through. And I think for CDH players, experience the way that people optimize in a way that doesn't look like what optimization looks like to you.
Yeah.
Optimizing isn't always chuck a crypt in, get a Swords to Plowshares, get a Path to Exile. People can optimize for flavor and optimize for fun and optimize for like weirdness. And yeah, people miss that.
All right, CDH players, I do understand that we're about to get blown out with DMs saying how wrong we are. And look, I respect that if you have already tried casual and it's not for you, that's fine. Because
we're not talking to you.
all we're saying is try it once. And you
Yeah.
tried it once and you
Yeah.
found out you hated it.
Totally fine.
You can continue hating casual and not play it and
Yep.
play CEDH for the rest of your life. Same thing with casual players. If you've tried CEDH and you really didn't like it because you played a 6-hour game with someone playing Yashan and you just got staxed out. Or,
Sorry about that, by the way.
Or someone was playing Rogsai and ad-naused on turn 1.
Yeah.
Like, you know...
Those things can happen.
Those things can happen. And if you don't like that, don't play it. But
No.
I think it's healthy to try.
Yeah, and honestly, if you also haven't played casual in a long time or haven't played CDH in a long time, give it a fresh go
Yeah,
as well because
both
your
metas
ideas
have changed.
a lot.
A lot.
So you might find that it's a better place for you now.
All right. Oh, that was a good one.
That is a good one.
That was hot. That
I
was
like that.
spicy.
Spicy, very spicy.
Takes.
I'm gonna say maybe more spicy.
Go on.
I've said it on the podcast before. Infinite combos are, in brackets, usually boring.
Yeah, I knew
Infinite
I
combos
knew this one was coming.
are boring. I've said the way I've phrased this on the podcast before is I don't like when the end of the game feels like it invalidates everything that happened before.
Yep.
So I enjoy that, when you're playing a game of Commander, there's a give and take where people are trying to use their mana, their cards. We've already referred to this in the episode already. Trying to manage their mana, manage their cards, manage their life total. Maybe I won't block that 15 and go to 3 if I think I can win on my next turn.
Yeah.
I like this give and take, and most infinite combos that happen just kind of make, for me, everything that happened before that in the game completely irrelevant. Now, that's just like why I generally don't like infinite combos. However, I did say they were boring. I want to be clear. So many combo players think they're being really cool and different, and it's just the same combo cards again and again.
Wow, you broke Freed from the Reel. How
Yeah.
cool. A
Good
2-mana
stuff, bro.
producing creature and Freed from the Reel. You're so independent and so unique.
Someone sees a new Squee get spoiled and is like, hey guys, by the way, you can go infinite with Food Chain. It's like, yeah. My mum went infinite with Food Chain in 1986.
My mum went infinite with Food Chain.
But you see the same payoffs. It's always Impact Tremors or Blood Artist or something. Someone does something with counters, it's always Solemnity. Someone's doing something with enchantments, it's always Starfield of Nyx. And it's like, people, once you've seen a certain number of these, it's just like, okay, we get it. And I'm telling you as well, I know many people who've played a lot of combos. Most players who keep a deck, but for a long amount of time and are playing combos, take them out because the people they're playing with and you yourself find them boring. When you win with the same infinite for the 5th time, completely exempting CDH from this, obviously.
Yeah, this is a casual lens.
This is a casual one only in this. But if you play that same combo 3-4 times, I guarantee you will get bored of it eventually.
Yeah, I don't think you can link bored and CEDH in the same sentence because it's not about boredom and that. No. It's about optimization.
No, and people will concede if the stacks player gets far enough in the lead, as they should. Yeah. Look, caveat here, I do have seen some complex combos, and I'm going to define complex as 4 or more cards.
Sure.
They're funny. I find them funny. If you can win with one of those, and I've seen it coming 3 cards ago, honestly, good job. Props to you. I don't even know how you do the things that you do, but most of the infinite combos, I'm being specific, infinite combos, I find boring, and I would be happy to see them pretty much never again outside of CDH.
Never. Wow, that is a hot take. That's
Except for the 4-card ones. 2-3-card infinite combos, especially with your commander being one of them. Just get them out of my games. I would happily never see them again.
All right, that is a Vindaloo level curry spicy. Do I agree? No. And I think it's pretty obvious why I play them. I play combos, and granted, I definitely make sure that I do have decks that exclude combos.
You're also really good at highlighting them in Rule 0. I want to be really clear about that. I never get blindsided by a combo with you.
And I also, something I've done for a while now is if I'm playing a combo and there's if you just remove one piece, it all falls apart and can't go infinite, but the rest of the pieces are still synergy pieces. I can just flip it upside down and turn that card into a basic land.
Yep.
That's what I've been doing recently. For example, the combo that I'm thinking specifically is in my Scorpion God deck. I run a combo. It's one of those ones that everyone's seen a million times before, but it's still 3 cards to work perfectly. It's Yawgmoth.
Thrown position.
Nest of Scarabs.
Yep.
This is the one where whenever a -1 counter is put onto a creature, you create... Oh, no, whenever a creature with a -1 counter on it dies, you create a 1/1 insect.
Yeah. So with Yawgmoth, the third card is like an aristocrat, right? Something that gain you life.
To end the game. Yeah, you can still loop that combo and have things die and just make infinite insects and kill a bunch of infinite insects.
Except that you're using life to put the -1 counter on
Correct, with Yawgmoth.
So you kind of need the aristocrat there to go very far with it. But yeah, you can go 30 deep, for instance, if you wanted to.
And more importantly, you would finish the game. If you had an aristocrat that dinged everyone for one, that when
then you're going up on life, and also everyone's going down on life. Yeah, you win.
I run that in my Scorpion God deck. The reason I think it's still fine, my commander is not part of the win con.
Yep.
All the pieces on their own are synergy pieces to my deck.
They're not like, it's not, I used to have like a Woodfall Primus in one of my decks, and it's like, cool, it's a card with Persist that destroys non-creature permanents. That's only really optimal when you are wanting to loop it with, Mazarek or whatever.
For sure. And all of them work really, really well on the deck on their own because they're synergistic.
Yep.
I also don't have any tutors in that deck.
Yep.
That's a lie. I have a Witchclaw Talisman. But Witchclaw Talisman... You give it to someone else, so then they can tutor a way to stop your combo going off, because it's like quite a lot of mana.
Scarabs, and I tutor like Swords to Plowshares or like Disenchant.
That'll do it.
That's fair.
So I think that those combos are fun, and the big reason why I think I would be sad in a world without combos if you were to, produce a world where no combos under 4 cards exist, is I think I would end up, personally, in some of the pods I play in, sitting in games that don't friggin' end.
Yeah.
I think that someone getting off an infinite combo going, I think it would just ends the game sometimes. And I think that Commander, where it's at now, there's so much good interaction and there's so much good removal and protection and board wipes now. Like, we have Farewell in our format. It's just amazing, right? Yeah. When Farewell happens, it's like you're restarting the game. And if someone can come out from that and end the game with a combo, I'm all for it. I have said multiple times, I hate playing in Commander games that are longer than 2 hours.
Yeah.
I just hate it. So yeah, that's why I disagree with you completely.
That's fair. I think... For me, there are other ways that I would want the game to end. Like, I'm a big advocate, same as you, for having lots of win cons in your deck, for not having too many board wipes. Like, those are things that I think remedy that.
Sure.
Non-infinite combos, for instance, like copying Gary, whatever. But no, totally respect it. Okay, absolute power. Do we ban combos from casual games?
You're saying we're banning them if we had absolute power.
I said I'd like to never see them again. This is absolute power. I'm making it so that I can never see a casual game end in a combo.
So the idea is now that every deck you ever build has to be put into Commander Spellbook.
Yep.
Identify any combos. If it has one, you can't play that deck at Commander.
I have checked this box already. Already done. Would we do that with absolute power? No, I would not. I know I'm not speaking for everyone and their Commander experience, and I can also recognize that my preferences are not everyone's preferences. I don't want to enforce them on anybody else. So, no, I would not do it.
I'm definitely in the hell no camp, but I would like to just say that, again, just find the pods that you like playing with.
Yeah, I have done that, by the way.
If you have a spicy hot take like Walt like this, the way you don't like combos, don't play with people that play a lot of them.
Yep.
It's simple.
I've successfully convinced everyone that they should stop doing that.
Yeah, you've actually made a bit of an impact on our LGS.
Look, I think a lot of people, when they get into Commander, are like, oh my god, a combo, that's so cool. And then once they've played them a few times, most people, not all people, will be like, I can see this is kind of boring for me and everybody else.
One of my first infinite combos was learning that Zaxara and Freed from the Real goes infinite.
You had Pemon's Aura as well.
Pemon's Aura,
yeah. You got one more hot take here, I reckon. I've given 4. You've given 3. What's your final one to leave us with?
All right. It's another CDH related one.
Okay.
It's going to be a quick one because I don't think I can back it as much as the other ones.
Sure.
Okay. I'm actually nervous to say this because I'm going to get flack for this.
All right.
Orcish Bowmasters is not as good in CDH as people think it is.
Whoa.
For context, for casual listeners, Orcish Bowmasters, we are considered to be, right now, in a lot of articles that people that play CDH are writing and just general conversation, we are in what's known as an Orcish Bowmasters world. That's what people are referring to the current CDH meta as, an Orcish Bowmasters world.
So for reference, Orcish Bowmasters is a creature from the Lord of the Rings set. It's a 2-mana creature with flash.
Yeah, Flash makes it good.
When it enters the battlefield, and whenever a player draws their second card for the turn.
Nope.
No? Already wrong?
It's even better than that. It's whenever an opponent draws their an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card other than the card they draw in their first draw step.
Sorry. So second or third or fourth, whatever, card. Then Orcish you amass Orcs 1.
Yep.
So you make an Orcish army that's a 1/1, or you can, if you have an army, you put more counters on there. That's never relevant.
Sometimes.
And Orcish Bowmasters deals 1 damage to any target.
Correct.
So the way that this normally plays out in CDH and why it's warping the meta so much, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you play a lot more CDH than I do, is that it basically pretty much always can 2-for-1 somewhere. If someone, at the very least, it's entering the battlefield and pinging a dork.
Yep, dorks are a big one.
Yep. If someone's attacking you with a 2/2, enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to that, you block with the army, dead.
Yep.
It can even trade with a 3/3 because you can flash in the Orcish Bowmasters, deal a damage there, block with your army and the Orcish Bowmasters. You killed a 3/3 for 2 mana.
Yep. It also is part of a lot of combos.
Yep.
There are non-infinite combos that you can do with Orcish Bowmasters. For example, if you are a wheel-based deck, you can wheel the table and hold priority flashing in Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah.
I've seen that done a few times.
Yeah.
I've also seen infinite combos where, for example, you are running Dockside and Emil the Blessed. You can flick a Dockside with Emil the Blessed, generate infinite mana,
treasures, and then you use the infinite treasures
to flick a Orcish Bowmasters a million
deal
times.
Deal 1 damage. Yep.
Correct. There's infinite sack reanimator loops.
Yep.
There's a bunch of these things. I am going to say that it's not as good as people think.
Okay, so for reference, how good people think it is, like you said, people are saying we are in the Orcish Bowmasters meta, basically.
Yes.
Orcish Bowmasters is the reason the decks look the way they do.
People are questioning including cards based on the fact that Orcish Bowmasters exists.
For reference, like our good friend Johnny Salami on stream said the other night, people are really low on dorks at the moment.
Yep.
CDH used to be full of, Llanowar Elves, Absence Pilgrim, this kind of thing. 1 mana green creatures that tap for a mana of any color.
Yep.
They're very, very good, obviously, at accelerating you on turn 1. They were being played a lot. They're being played a lot less because Orcish Bowmasters for 2 mana just kills 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of them, maybe more than that sometimes if someone's wheeling and then you're flashing it in, that kind of thing. People are calling it the meta. You think it's not the meta?
Oh, I still think it's affecting the meta on a larger scale.
But it's not like the defining characteristic of the meta right now.
I think there are other things that are happening in CDH that is defining the meta more than Orcish Bowmasters.
I'll throw the One Ring out there.
The One Ring is another thing. Not just cards, but also more playable CDH commanders. I think in the past year or two, just because of the sheer volume of legendary creatures we've got, there are more playables.
Yeah, I mean we've talked at length about the Dimir. What's the one you choose a number and then whenever
Talion.
That draws you a million cards in Dimir. It's kind of the Dimir value shell now.
For sure. The reason why I'm saying my hot take is Orcish Bowmasters isn't as good as people think is because I've played, just this month, I've played nearly 25 to 30 games of CDH.
Jeez.
I'm playing a lot. I'm grinding. I'm also preparing for our stream of Dockside Debacle 3, so I'm getting to know the meta. I see Orcish Bowmasters come down, people get scared of it, and it gets removed. The other thing that Orcish Bowmasters does is kills an Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Orcish Bowmasters answers Orcish Bowmasters, and in an Orcish Bowmaster world, you're never going to see 2 Orcish Bowmasters and both of them be a problem. Do you know what I mean? Rhystic Study, there can be 2 Rhystic Studies, and that is a big problem in CDH. If 2 players are on Rhystic Study and they've both got it down, oh my god, people stop paying the 1, and those 2 will duke it out for the win.
That's fair.
I just think Orcish Bowmasters, outside of being a combo piece, is not as valuable as people think. Like, responding to a wheel, that's sick, but I have been seeing people play Sheoldred more in CDH, the 4 mana one that's a 4/5 with Death Touch. And
whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life.
I would if I don't play many. I'm currently building some black CDH decks. I'm building Slimefoot and Squee. Orcish Bowmasters is in the list because it also combos with Slimefoot and Squee. But I am considering Sheoldred for the deck as well, just because it's a really good mid-rangey piece, and I think the meta of CDH is now a mid-rangey meta where Turbo Nors can sneak a win occasionally.
Okay.
I still think Turbo Nors is probably the top of the meta, but like, yeah, I think CEDH as a whole, Orcish Bowmasters, is not as good as people think it is.
Okay.
It's hot. It's a hot take, and I'm happy to...
This will be a unique one. We're supposed to say whether the other person agrees, whether I agree with this. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's fair. You
I
don't play a
play
lot.
hardly any CDH. I've probably played... you count the number of games I've played of CDH on one hand in the last 9 months, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I will be a responsible human and say that I've got no idea.
That's fair. But if we had absolute power, is this like another one where we force people to take Orcish Bowmasters out of their decks?
I think it's more like... Maybe, is it like, do we make people see that Orcish Bowmasters is bad? Or like consider, do we force everyone to it?
Okay, how about this? Because both of us are neither experts. Would we go up to Dylan and Cam from Play to Win and tell them to their face, you guys are idiots, you're running Orcish Bowmasters, or it's not as good as you think it is? Say something like that to Dylan and Cam from Play to Win.
No.
Neither would I. I play a lot of CDH, but I am not as big of an expert, and I'm sure I am still not seeing the full extent of how good Orcish Bowmasters is. I mean, it's changed the meta away from Dorks. Like, that's got to be something, right?
Yeah. Maybe the sort of healthy middle ground we're landing on is like, Orcish Bowmasters is good, but not that good, as good as people think it is. Well, that's your spot. I'm not going to stand next to that because I've got no idea.
But yeah, I guess I've talked a lot about CDH in this episode, but it's what I'm playing a lot of at the moment, so that's where my mind's at.
No, I respect it. We know that there's some CDH listeners out there. We hope you've enjoyed. And of course, everyone has some hot takes if they talk for long enough, and we've been talking for a long time. But it's important to take stock of what really matters and whether our beliefs are actually reasonable expectations that we can set for others. So, Space Commanders, command received.
All right. I feel good. I feel like I've gotten some things off my chest, but also, like, when we boil it down, you're right. We say these hot takes, and I feel like for most of them, we were like, but yeah, we wouldn't actually change anything, would we? We wouldn't actually do it.
That's the Get Commanded way, right? We know people have hot takes. We know you guys want to hear them, but also it's important to put them in the context of like, we wouldn't actually do anything about it. They're just like feelings we have that we know are just feelings we have.
See, I still love people being like, wow, Arcane Signet is so bad. It's bannable. I ban Arcane Signet, ban Sol Ring. Everyone's still playing them.
Yeah.
Like,
the Commander's fine, guys.
We're having fun.
And to the listeners out there, do you feel commanded? What do you think of our hot takes? And have you got any of your own that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I reckon this is going to be a hot one in the Discord.
Yeah, keen to see it.
You can jump in our Discord, the Greensboro Commander Community Discord, and discuss all of these amazing hot takes with us. Or you can get in touch with us on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at Get Commanded Everywhere. And if you want to see us play Commander live, you can go to twitch.tv/Get Commanded.
Yeah, check it out for sure. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page. It's linked in the show notes. It's the absolute best way to support the Get Commanded podcast directly and the things that we make. We'd like to thank our patrons, Stellar Tam, Fuzzy, and Bottomless Potamus, and an extra special shout out to Fletcher Cutting and Wizard Down Under for supporting us in the Space Commander tier. You guys are the best.
It's scary that there are 2 Space Commander patrons now.
I know.
Like,
we know there's at least 2 other Space Commanders as well.
Yeah, we've
the
heard
cohort
the 2
is growing.
voices. It's terrifying.
Scary.
And a quick thanks to Palms Off Gaming for sponsoring our podcast. These guys are great at making gaming accessories like sleeves, deck boxes, and binders. You can go to palmsoffgaming.com.au/#GetCommanded to get 10% off their amazing products and support the show at the same time.
Yep, that's palmsoffgaming.com.au/#GetCommanded.
All right. Hot takes over.
Yep.
Let's go back to the world of regular living where we're not playing Magic or talking about Magic. What have you been up to recently?
I went on holiday.
You did go on holiday.
I went for about a week and a half up to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I love the Gold Coast.
For those of you international, maybe you've heard of Gold Coast. I don't know how much people know about Australia when they're not from Australia.
I think they know like of Sydney.
Yeah.
But the Gold Coast is north of Sydney,
Yes.
on the coast of Queensland.
Yes, it's very it's near to New South Wales. Like you can drive and you can get to the state New South Wales, which is where Sydney is. But you're much more in the tropical area area of Australia.
It's friggin' hot.
It's hot and humid and consistently hot. In Melbourne, we get very hot. We can hit, 40, sometimes above 40 degrees, but it's a very dry heat and it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, that's Celsius, by the way, as well, not Fahrenheit.
No, it might rain that same day, for reference, in Melbourne. Gold Coast is just like, nope. It might rain, it might not, but it's going to be 25 and it's going to be hot.
There's kind of two settings to Gold Coast weather, in my opinion. It's like hot or hot and humid.
Yeah.
Or warm and humid. That's like three options. That's it.
The whole time we were there, it was just hot and humid.
Were you like sticky, sweaty?
Yeah. It was a funny thing. Like, I haven't really lived in a tropical area. I spent about 5 weeks in Indonesia on exchange, which was a similar vibe. But like, I've not lived in a hot, humid area before. And the thing is, you just get used to being sweaty. You don't stop sweating.
Yeah.
You just kind of get used to the fact that, like,
it's like
okay,
an acceptance thing, isn't it?
I can shower as many times as I want. I can change my shirt, but no matter what, I'm going to be sweaty.
This is me now.
This is me now. This
So
is my
what'd you get
life.
up to? Did you go to the theme parks?
We went to Dreamworld, which
Love
is
Dreamworld.
one of the ones there with some really cool rides. I did my first roller coaster.
You've never been on a roller coaster
Never
before.
I went on the steel taipan up at Dreamworld. Very cool. Did a couple of... Does one like proper loop-de-loop.
Did you go upside down, like properly upside down?
Yeah, there was one bit
well
where
done.
it actually goes backwards and it goes over vertical, up backwards. So for a second, you're like...
Upside down,
upside
backwards.
down, moving backwards. Very
I love
cool.
a good roller coaster. For those that don't know, I actually grew up on the Gold Coast.
We worked out after I got
Yeah,
back
this is weird.
the cousins of my partner that we were staying with live in a suburb called Pacific Pines. James grew up and the part of the Gold Coast he was living in was Pacific Pines. We checked the street addresses. It was around the corner.
Yeah.
Wild.
And never thought of that before. But
No.
when I was a kid, I grew up on the Gold Coast. So my after school activity was going to Movie World. That was like
we heard Movie World was good, but also that some of the rides were closed, and we were like, nah. And Dreamworld apparently has just like the most rides. So
it's
we
the
did Dreamworld.
biggest. It's the biggest one.
Yeah. We did the whole day. We did 10 to 5, and we didn't. run out
Blimey,
of
you would
stuff
have
to
been
do.
shattered.
We were pretty wrecked. Like, the person we were with, like the 13-year-old who is the cousin of my partner, went on the claw 5 times. 5 times. I did it twice, and I was like, I don't ever want to do that ever again. I'm done for life now. The claw
I have ticked that off the bucket list.
Because we did it the first time, and then she was like, oh, the first time's really scary, but the second time would be really fun. Me and my partner did it again, and we were like, you're wrong. You're so wrong.
It was just as horrific as
It was
the
just
first
awful.
time.
It was more awful because I knew what I was going in for. So we did Dreamworld. We spent some time in the Gold Coast, but we also went and did a day trip to Brisbane, which is Vegas, a little further up the coast, and is the capital city of Queensland. And went to there's like a little strip that has like they've got a museum, they've got the Gallery of Modern Art, and they have contemporary. No. Anyway, they've got 3 of these in a row. Oh, the library. They've got the State Library, their big Gallery of Modern Art, and they have their museum. And
This sounds like a good spot for you and your partner to go. Yeah.
We didn't end up going, but they also, like, literally just next to it again, have, like, sort of the equivalent of their art center. Like, the big theater venue.
Did you go see a show?
We did not. We were going
didn't have time.
we ended up going to a movie instead, which was really fun. But the Gallery of Modern Art was amazing there. We went there twice. We went to the museum twice. We spent a whole good chunk of time in the library just reading books, sitting quietly in a cool area. That was nice.
That's actually, like, if you know Walt and if you know Walt's partner Electra, that's a perfect holiday for those two as a couple.
Look, we spent so much time doing so little, and it was just like perfect. We came back to Melbourne and we were like, actually, our life's pretty good.
I feel okay now.
We were feeling pretty like burnt out on just the way things were going, and then we were like, no, we're okay, and life's gonna be fine.
Well needed holiday.
Well needed, and feeling very relaxed now that I'm back.
Well, welcome back. We've got a lot of podcasts and streams and videos.
It's going to be a huge year.
Conventions and stuff to do.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And that's all we have time for this week. So we'll see you next Friday for another transmission from the Space Commanders.
Goodbye, Commander players.
Bye.